When you have deep clarity in your purpose, you'll never run out of stories to share, perfect fit clients to serve, and aligned partnerships to build. So if you're looking for deeper clarity on your own thought leadership brand, then download the first chapter of my audio course for free using the link in the show notes. I am really excited to share this panel, which is all about compelling offers. It was recorded at Jordan Gill's Make Your Mark Live back in September 2023 in Dallas and moderated by Ellen Yin, who is the host of the Cubicle to CEO podcast. And there's a couple things I want to share before we get into the recording itself. So when we talk about offers, these can be anything, right? For small business owners, coaches, consultants, service providers, they are usually something that look like courses or group programs or service packages. Maybe they're VIP days. They are some way that we've productized our expertise to help our clients with the transformation that we provide. But I just have to say, no matter who you are, you have an offer. So nonprofits, your year-end appeal is an offer. Your tickets to your gala is an offer. Or maybe you're a marketing director at a larger corporation. Or maybe you are looking to secure brand deals through your marketing newsletter or your podcast. Well, your podcast and your newsletter are also offers, even if they are free, because your audience is paying with their time and attention. So I see offers as anything that we are packaging up and putting out into the world in hopes that our dreamy, ideal audience will pick it up and say yes. And because these offers are so compelling, oftentimes what happens is that audience end up becoming ambassadors for that offer. And they tell their friends and their colleagues about it. So it has this kind of ripple effect. So another thing I really enjoyed and loved about this conversation too is that although all of us are very different in our approaches and our perspectives, everyone on this panel has built a business and created offers around strong values and visions. So for example, one of my fellow panelists, Kirsten Roldan, talks about emailing your list every day. And I talk about posting on LinkedIn just once per week, right? I call it being lazy on LinkedIn. But at the end of the day, both of us are being true to our values. And actually, in a lot of ways, our shared values and our shared vision of eliminating burnout for people. We just do that through different ways. And that's amazing because different people need different approaches to get to that same end goal in their life. And I also talked about, and I love talking about, and of course I loved learning from my fellow panelists about some of the hard stuff, like the behind the scenes stuff, right? Like pushback when our offers are maybe polarizing, or making changes to our offers based on data and our community's needs if something isn't working quite as well. So anyway, there's a lot of juicy stuff here. And so without further ado, that's enough talking about the conversation. Let's get into the conversation. Please enjoy the episode. Hey, I'm Tanya Bhattacharya, and you are listening to the Campfire Circle podcast. We are all about breaking down the boardroom table as the ultimate space of leadership, and instead replacing it with a campfire. Because that's where we share our stories. That's where we build warm community, and that is where there's always room. I'm building an impactful business in public through thought leadership, and I'm taking you behind the scenes all along the way. So if you want to stand out as you stand up for your mission, you are in the right place.
Hello, everybody. So excited to moderate the compelling offers panel. These women have so much incredible knowledge to share. We're going to dive right on in. I'm sure you all have gotten a chance to meet so many of the amazing attendees, but just in case, for those meeting you for the very first time, in 30 seconds, who are you and who do you help?
I'm Traci Szemkus, and I'm one of the co-founders of Workplay Branding, and we help create stunning visual marketing campaigns.
Sorry, playing little musical chairs.
We create stunning marketing campaigns, visual marketing campaigns that generate leads and create sales.
Thank you, Traci.
Hey everybody, I'm Tanya Bhattacharya, and I help social impact entrepreneurs show up as the thought leaders that they are on LinkedIn. And I also host the CAMPFIRE CIRCLE podcast, which is all about brave storytelling, visibility, and changing the ultimate space of leadership from a stuffy boardroom table into a fun and inviting campfire circle, which this very much feels like. So.
Hi, I'm Erin Perkins. I'm deafblind, and I work with independent business owners to teach them how to be accessible in their business beyond just your website.
My name's Kirsten Roldan, and I am a New Yorican, which means I'm a Puerto Rican from New York, living in Austin. Where you at? I'm living in Austin, but I always make sure I let people know I'm from New York. And I'm a business coach that helps coaches and service providers scale to $1 million a year peacefully, and I'm a firm believer that the key to a peaceful $1 million business is email marketing, team systems, and mindset work. And so I have two programs: $1 Million Email, which helps coaches and service providers become social media optional, and then $1 Million CEO, which is my team and systems program, which helps coaches and agency owners become CEO optional.
Amazing. Well, what makes each of your offers so compelling is that they're rooted in really strong values. So I'd love to go down the line today and explore how your values show up in your teaching and experiences that you create for your customers. So I'm actually going to start on the opposite end. So Traci, I'll give you a hot sec. Kirsten, you are a vocal advocate for emailing your list every single day and avoiding templates. Where did you develop this philosophy, and how do you help people show up boldly through $1 million emails?
Yes, so I teach 3 to 5 emails a week and 3 to 5 emails a day during your launches. And I really came up with that through my own trial and error when I asked myself, how can I make all of my money from email alone? Like, how can I hit $1 million a year with just email? And I found that multiple sales emails a week, just like we do anywhere else on our marketing platforms, is how you do it. And so, and I found with my clients that applied that as well. I was like, okay, this works for me. How does it work for my clients? With my clients, they started scaling rapidly when they applied this, and while being social media optional. So people coming to me under 6 figures, hitting 100K, 200K, 300K, all the way to $1 million. And so there was that. And then for templates, I found that my clients only wrote with templates because they didn't know how to write emails fast. They didn't think they were good at writing emails. And so all those reasons are not good reasons to use templates. And so I just taught my community how to write 10 emails in an hour, so that solved for the speed. I taught them how to be confident with their messaging, so that solved for the confidence and not thinking that you're good at writing emails. And I always tell my clients, templates don't change industries. Like, to lead an industry, you have to go off script. And so just helping them with that confidence, the mindset coaching they need to confidently write emails without templates, and to write a lot of emails to their list and not be scared of any pushback.
That's so powerful. I have to ask, you've helped so many people write emails and write them faster and write them with their own thought leadership. What is one thing that you feel could help more people overcome that writer's block when they're staring at that blinking cursor, not knowing what to say?
Yeah, I think the number one thing is, like, if I think tactically, you have to stop editing while you write. Like, you have to stop saying, oh no, that's not going to convert. Watching your brain as you write, that's going to be the number one thing. Oh, is this going to convert? Does this make sense? All the doubts that you have are what keep you from actually putting words on the screen. And also, I always tell my clients the mindset tool that I use is $1 million energy. Like, if you were $1 million CEO, what would you be writing? And would you worry about how it's coming across, what you're saying, how you're saying it? You're going to write so much faster when you're in your $1 million energy.
Oh, I love that. Writing as who you want to be, not just how you feel in the moment. Right. That's really powerful. All right, Erin, you believe every business could improve their accessibility to make their offers and content easier for people to experience. How does your offer, Successible, help business owners tackle a big challenge like this with tangible, manageable action steps to better serve their customers?
Oftentimes, first when I set this up, I was like, I need a way for businesses to understand that accessibility is literally part of your core business. It's like, it's something that you need. You need a CEO, you need accessibility, you need all of this. Most people are like not thinking about accessibility because it's almost an abstract thing. And even when I was learning personally, I found it so hard. I was like, this doesn't feel easy to me. And I thought I was a smart person. And it was like so complicated that I was like, I need to make this easy. So when I made it, I started building it out by just doing bite-sized pieces, bite-sized like information, and kind of like explaining to people like, this is why you do this. And one thing I do like to do is call people out on their bullshit, and just be like, just be like, you need to be accessible, because like at one point in every single one of your life, you will be disabled at one point or another. Like, it's just a simple fact of life. Everyone will have a disability at one point in your life, and that's why like I needed to like create this, because I want to be one of your buyers. I want to buy from you, and if you're not accessible, I'm not going to buy from you, because I am tired. I've been like seeking accessibility my whole life. So like trying to buy tickets to a concert is like one of the most difficult things, because like I can't just click and buy a ticket. I have to go and like call them and reach out to them and be like, can I have an interpreter? Can I have this? And then it takes a while before they get back to me. Like, I want to be like every single one of you and just make a decision like that. And that's why I created Accessible, is so that I can make those decisions because I know you made me feel like you designed this offer for me.
I have to give huge credit to you, Erin. I know I told you this privately, but I just want to also say in front of the room that she really does make it so easy to make bite-sized improvements. Like, I remember when I first met Erin, one of the first things she told me is it would really help me if every podcast episode had a transcript in the show notes, like full transcript that was edited, that was easy to watch and listen, or read and watch at the same time. And just making that change and adding it to our weekly routines as a team was something that is not a big ask, right? But it makes such a big difference. And so that's something that I really want to credit you for. And I also want to just add on to your thought about how you help business owners make their businesses more accessible outside of just their website. So when you're looking out at this room, and if people don't even know where to start, what is one overlooked, like most overlooked way for them to just add accessibility to their business?
Honestly, it's social media. Like, because most people don't use their disability as part of their story. It happened to be part of my story, but I'm pretty sure there's at least 20 people here that have a disability, but you're not sharing it, and that's totally fine. So it's like social media where you have the most control over how you can be accessible. Captioning your video, just like changing your hashtag, actually like saying what you want to say and keeping it in plain language without like all that fluff. Like, that's how you can make your like platform accessible, because most people are not going to your website first. They're going to find you on your social media. So if your social media is accessible, it shows that you're thinking about, like by captioning your video, by changing your hashtag, then they're going to go to your website because they feel like, oh, you have thought about me. You've thought about like what it's like if you're a mom that you're breastfeeding your child, like you're not going to have sound on your phone. So once you do that and then you go to your website, you're going to get more and more people with disabilities wanting to buy from you.
I love that. Thank you. Tanya, you have more of a minimalist approach when it comes to marketing, and you suggest posting once a week as enough to build thought leadership on a platform like LinkedIn. How does this viewpoint come through in how you've shaped your offers, like the Thought Leadership Clarity course?
Yeah, I love this question. So for me, I think it's about going deep versus wide on LinkedIn, and that creates the spaciousness for the specific people that I work with to really rest, first of all, and reflect and like let their best thinking start to emerge. And so when I was shaping the Thought Leadership Clarity course, I knew I wanted to create the conditions for people to slow down. And so I called it a slow study. I made it an audio course in a private podcast feed. I remember in the sales messaging and the copy, I even wrote things like, I want you to untether from your computer. I want you to draw a bubble bath and listen there. I want you to fall asleep with your AirPods in and like wake up with new answers about your vision and your story and the ways that you want to show up in the world. And I remember even saying something like, you're never going to finish this course because this work is never done, right? This is a lifetime's worth of work. And you can return to this anytime you want to go deeper in your visibility. But of course, I was worried about what people were going to think, because that's not a typical way to market your course, right? It's more about immediate results and ROI and, and all those things. And nothing, like, there's no shade on that. There's a time and a space for that. But for this specific course, especially because what was so foundational to it was really that tender work of getting into right relationship with our inner chaperone and those voices that tell us that, who are you to be showing up on LinkedIn, right? And that's very tender work. That's very slow work. It needs to breathe. So I put it out there. I did it scared. I was like, you know what? Maybe no one's going to buy. That's okay. Maybe people will think I'm a bad marketer. That's okay. And it was great. In terms of the revenue, I hit my goals. In terms of the reach, it did great. But I think the biggest win was that the resonance and the people who were purchasing the course was incredible. Like, I sent a little voice DM on LinkedIn to everybody who bought it, and I asked, why did you, like, what about this called you in? Like, what brought you in? Why did you buy, essentially? And the answers that I got were so beautiful and incredible. And it just really validated for me that when you are unapologetic about putting your values into your offers, the right people will show up. It might take a little time, but they will show up.
Absolutely, and I feel like patience is something that, and that slowness, that stillness, and being okay with it is something we sometimes struggle with as entrepreneurs. So that's really encouraging to hear. I have to ask, since you mentioned that you sent those voice DMs and people responded with what drew them in, I'm sure there's others in the room who may have offers that don't necessarily always have the hard metrics, right? Like the monetary ROI. So for those with more intangible transformations or outcomes, or ones that take longer periods of time like yours, what were some of those answers that came through of what really drew someone in or make them take that leap?
Yeah, I remember one person said, like, I didn't even know I was looking for this, but I was just magnetized to what you were saying. Or I've been wanting to show up on LinkedIn for a little while, but it always felt so like corporate or bro-y. I didn't know there was another option. Or, like this felt safe. That's I think that was my favorite one. This felt really safe. Yeah.
That's so beautiful. Thank you. Traci, you felt the photography industry wasn't necessarily catered to small business owners and entrepreneurs and their needs. Where were other photographers, do you feel, missing the mark with the packages they were offering in terms of content creation needs for small business owners in particular? And tell us how the workplay method better supports your community's needs.
Yeah, so I kind of want to rephrase that just a tad, because really we don't consider ourselves like particularly photographers in that sense.
Brand strategists.
Yeah, it's really about visual marketing strategies for bigger companies. And one of the things that we wanted from the very start is to make this accessible to the mom and pop stores, the corner stores, the solopreneurs, people just starting out. We have one package, and that has guided us from the very beginning. We have one package that's under $500 a month. Nobody said that it could be accomplished. And one of the things that we had to do is constantly fight through, like, our coaching, people that were coaching us to say, raise your prices. But one of the value systems that we have is keeping this accessible. There is a reason why huge companies have visual branding in their marketing. They have visual going right across their marketing, and they've always invested in it. And if we can bring that to everyone in this room and make it accessible and make it possible, there is a reason why they keep investing in it over and over. There's a reason why the same package that we offer to Kajabi, like, they're a $2 billion a year valuation for their business. And we also, the next day, work with a small business owner. They go through the same process. And so that's one of the things that we've stayed, like, really true to. We don't want to raise our prices, and it keeps making it further and further away from the small business owner that really needs this type of visibility and really needs their offers to come to life. So yeah, that's
No,
exciting.
that I really admire that about you and Lyric, is that you give that same care and attention, like you said, to a $2 billion company as you would to the startup who just opened their doors. And I would love for you to expand a little bit on what that brand and content creation process actually looks like from your end, and how you're able to retain a high level of service despite not raising your prices.
Systems.
Appropriate for this conference.
A lot of systems and a lot of trial and error, a lot of reflection on feedback from our current clients. I think that's one of the biggest things. It doesn't take a lot to be very caring to people, especially in the way that we're doing it, because we can immediately see results. A lot of people think branding in general, like it's really hard for an ROI, but we're seeing it every single day with our solopreneurs and our entrepreneurs out there that are literally making millions more. Millions. We have case studies coming out that, they have a team of 3 and they were never visible before our method, and they're actually making millions now. It's analytics that really matter, I believe. You have to be able to justify like your actions in business, especially in this economy, and it pushes us further and further when we actually see like where their profit, where their success is actually going. It's going to their families. It's going back to their communities. It's bringing them to conferences like this and being able to step away from their business a little bit to like breathe, a little bit of room. and it's making them more confident. Honestly, when you show up visually in such a stunning way, people want to promote themselves. People are proud of themselves, and they get out there more.
Absolutely. I really believe every photo and video we create, it's an asset that we now can, repurpose and utilize in our business. Yes, it's tangible.
Yeah,
I'm excited to have my workplace shoot in 2 weeks. So
we are excited for you.
Thanks, Traci. How do you navigate, this is kind of more of an open question, so whoever wants to jump in, how do you all navigate pushback from peers or your audience when you hold strong values that are polarizing? Did I hear it? Uh-oh.
I can start. For me, money talks. And so whenever someone has a pushback, I'm like, why do you teach people to send so many emails? Why do you do this? Why do you do that? I'm like, check my sales page, because people are making hundreds of thousands of dollars. Like, let the money show you. And so for me, oftentimes, it helps me to have evidence. I'm like, oh no, I have so much evidence of this working. And then, so from there, it's like, the money talks. I'm good there. But then I also get curious. I'm like, oh, clearly I haven't sold them on it enough. Clearly they still have questions about it. There are things that I'm not answering. And so I just use it as content. I'm like, oh, someone's questioning what social media optional means and if that's really real. So what have I not said yet? How can I answer that question? Oh, someone thinks it's unethical to send that many emails a week. How can I show them that it actually is ethical? So I have evidence, and I also just get curious rather than frustrated, and I use that to answer the questions of my audience, because if someone that has pushback is asking it, first of all, I can't tell you how many people have emailed me angry emails and joined my programs. Cannot tell you how many people. Cannot tell you. Making so much money now. I'm like, this is funny, right? So there's that, but also if someone that is never gonna join my program is asking it, I want the people in my program to have an answer for it too when they talk to others. Just the other day, there was a situation where people were, talking about social media optional and what that really means. All my clients were jumping on it and being like, no, this is what they mean, this is what it means, et cetera, et cetera. And I'm like, see, my job is to teach them to have an answer for others, right? Not for me to have an answer all the time. And so that's how I navigate it.
That's amazing. That's a great reframe. I think curiosity is such a superpower, so I really commend you for that. Does anyone else have something they want to add here?
I think we always encourage our clients to think bigger. have to think bigger. You have to have the vision. You have to have that visual inside your mind first. You have to know what you're wanting to do with your business. You have to know your business inside and out, first of all. But like when you can actually see it and go forward, I mean, the proof is in the pudding, like with results and with the tangibility of what we offer. I feel like once they do it, once they see it, they can calm down a little bit. But like we have a lot of unrelaxed people getting into them from the first start because they want to get it perfect. And it's just, you have to just take the first step. You have to like stop pushing back, just without resistance, just go forward and trust the process.
I think that's true for a lot of things in business and in life. That clarity is created from action, not from planning. You don't know what you don't know until you experience it.
Absolutely. I love the phrase action gives you the answers. It does. You can navigate from there.
I love that. Tanya, were you going to say something?
Yeah, I totally feel you on that because I think about this a lot because I think that worry is one of the biggest reasons why good people don't show up on LinkedIn, that potential pushback, especially because LinkedIn's a place where like your old boss might see your spicy perspectives, your funders, your investors, your donors, your potential clients, and you can have a lot of thoughts about that. And so I always try to tell people what I try to practice myself, and it's a practice, it's not always perfect. I come at it with the philosophy of like, if you don't have any pushback on anything that you're saying, and if everybody agrees with everything that you're putting out there, then what you're saying is not going to create systems level change. And that's okay for some people. But if you're really committing to being a thought leader and a change maker and somebody who is trying to shift the world and change hearts and minds and like leave the world a little better than you found it, I think that pushback is going to be part of the process. Like it's par for the course, but it hurts, right? Pushback hurts. Like as a human being, as a sensitive Pisces, like it hurts my heart when I get pushback. But I just try to reframe it as like a contraction, because contractions are also painful, but they're necessary for something new being born. And what I would say too is if your haters are picking up on your message, you are being clear. And if they can hear you, then for sure the people who need to hear your message and who are just so ready to like link arms with you and work with you, they're also hearing it.
Yes. Ooh, that's such a great, like, again, reframe, remeasure of you're doing something right if even your haters can clearly tell you what it is that you're trying to share. And what is that quote? Well-behaved women rarely make history, right? So I feel like your answer reminds me of that, absolutely. Erin, did you have anything to add?
For me, it was like, people are like, but nobody in my audience has a disability. I'm like, you want to bet? I mean, literally, 1 in 4 people in the United States has a disability. That's why I'm saying at least 20 of you have a disability. So, like, why are you throwing money away? You're literally throwing money away by not including accessibility into your platform. You are literally excluding so many people if you do not caption your video. Like, it's just a no-brainer. To me, I remember reading an article a couple months back that just made me so mad. It said that why do subtitles exist? I'm like, because they do, because people need it. You'd be surprised at how many people watch TV with closed captioning now. It's like such a normal thing. Like, it's so normal. I don't even understand why going to the movie theater is still hassle to get open caption on the movie theater, because they're like, well, a lot of people don't like it. Like, most people actually like it. I'm like, show me people that don't like captioning. Like, we are battling this overconsumption of like content. I feel like if you listen and you read, you're gonna absorb the information a lot better. And that's like my pushback to them. It's like, find that person with a disability in your audience. You're gonna find so many of them.
That's a really powerful stat, 1 in 4. That's a lot. Yeah. What is something about your offer that wasn't landing previously that, sorry, is that feedback from me? That you then, hold that you then tweaked and saw measurable improvement in how well it converted, or the types of transformations you saw in your students? What did you change? The more specific, the better.
I would say for me, when I first launched Susceptible, the biggest thing was it was named the Susceptible Community, and I realized that people didn't necessarily want a community. They just wanted a place to go that was more of like where they could learn. So I literally dropped the in the community, and I feel like that just resonated with people better because they're like, oh, this is just where I can go and learn. I don't need another community, because sometimes people feel like overwhelmed with the fact that another community, like, I don't want another community. I'm like, you're still going to connect with other people, but it's more there for you to like come and learn and take what you need and go from there and just like with that.
Yeah, absolutely. That's so fascinating too, how that applies beyond even just offers. Sometimes I've noticed even in like podcast names, if you drop specific words, it'll make such a difference in how you show up in search results or whatnot.
Big time.
Simple changes, but big differences.
When we first started, like probably, I don't know, 6-7 years ago, we had the most unsexy, boring, hard to get through process of 5 months of workshops that they had to do before they got their content. And it was ridiculous. I'm sorry. We're really embarrassed about it now, but everybody just wanted to get to the content creation part of it. We had to do a lot of streamlining because we needed a lot of information from our clients to begin with. And that's how we were trying to get it, and it was just the wrong way to do it. And the feedback was from our current clients needing like the content like yesterday. But also the feedback was in the way that we felt like as entrepreneurs getting to deal one-on-one with your clients. Like, you don't want something just because you think that you have to have it. It was more like a formality to us to say, okay, like, we need a formalized like homework from you. Like, nobody wants to do homework here, you know? Everybody wants to have fun. We want the process to be relaxed and fun, and so we've worked really hard to streamline and make it simple, because it's a very complicated process. You know, everything is, but we got it down to like a streamlined, simplified way to get through our process after the transaction. And I think that, like, when you have an offer that's super compelling, your marketing can get a little bit ahead of like the actual process after the transaction. So we want to like focus on that just as much as we want to focus on like having you understand what you're going to get through. You know what I mean? Like, for the marketing. And so one of the things that we just did, we just chopped it in half and just simplified everything. And it just made all the difference, because people want to have fun when they're doing, you know, they had the investment, but they still want the same result. It's just, you know, how are you getting them there? So
I love that you answered this question from the direction not of how did you improve your offer, you know, for more people to buy, but to improve their experience after. I feel like that's such an underrated aspect.
Yeah.
And it's interesting, there's data, I can't remember the exact study, but there's data out there that shows the moment of highest buyer remorse or regret is actually right after purchase. So what you do in those first few minutes right after someone has clicked buy makes such a big difference, and having a streamlined onboarding process is incredible.
Yeah, absolutely. They don't want to wait either. For like, we have an automated onboarding, and so one of the things that we found with the automation, like right after, is that they felt in control. So it's self-paced, and I think a lot of people can learn from that, because having a self-paced, having them go at their own rate and not forcing them through it fast, or, you know, making it such a drawn-out process is so important. So it's their choice whether or not they want to have their next thing like in, you know, next week or like in 2 months from now, you know, so they go at their own pace. It just made all the difference. Like he said, like, we don't want them to regret anything that they've done, but we do need information. So it's almost like, you know, give it to us like as you feel comfortable. Everybody's on a different schedule now, so it's, you know, it's almost like mandatory almost. I think, I don't know.
Yeah, for sure.
The biggest change, there's 2 changes that I made that drastically improved my client results, and it started with my program promise. So when I first started $1 Million Email, my promise was you'll make high-ticket email sales. And any email program can promise you grow your list. You make a high-ticket email sale here and there. It was huge for me to say you can make social media optional. It was huge for me to say you can replace a marketing platform, and it forced me to be better. Like, I had to be better. And so for me, I was like, oh my goodness, if I'm gonna promise this, what do I need to teach my clients? What do they need to start doing? What do they need to stop doing? And because of that, that changed my client transformation so much for two reasons. For one, I was better as a coach, right? Giving them exactly what they needed, but also they were kind of forced to, like step into that as well. Like, oh, I'm here to be social media optional, not just to make a little high ticket email sale here and there. So the promise was huge because it gave a lot of possibility for my clients, and sometimes just knowing something's possible gets you the result, right? But then also it forced me to be better with what I was creating, and which thus makes it more compelling, right? And then from there, a big thing that I changed as well was mindset. So I realized that I was giving all the strategy, but not everyone was applying it. And there's so much mindset in email marketing, like unsubscribe mindset, writing mindset. People have trauma around writing. They have trauma around people pleasing and feeling like, they're being annoying or being some type of way. And so what I had to start doing was giving strategy and then right after it, giving them mindset and ways to think about the strategy. And I think that was massive, because then I got so many more people in my program actually taking action rather than like the top percent, that like we always see that, right? Yeah. Like the top percent takes all the action, but I wanted as many people as possible to. And so adding in mindset coaching, like every time you get a strategy piece, you get mindset and a way to think about it, changed the game for my clients and how they performed in the program.
Wow, that's amazing. Incredible.
I had a 6-month group coaching program, and I wasn't vibing with it. And I ended up reimagining a piece of it that was specifically about creating LinkedIn content into its own brand new thing. I turned it into the LinkedIn Content Sprint, which is where I help folks create 6 months of strategic LinkedIn content in like one quick fell swoop. And that offer has been landing really, really well. Like I'm actually in the middle of a launch right now, like cart is open and I'm here chilling with my friends. Like it's gonna sell out, I'm not worried about it. I am writing emails though. Yep, emails are going out while I'm here with my friends. I think what I changed about it that made it compelling is, one, it's asynchronous, so people don't have to show up for live calls. They can if they want to, they're offered, but they don't have to show up live. The curriculum is light, it's quick, it's like airy, it's like one class, right? It's like one thing. And it's quick, right? It's a month, you do it, and then you're out. And what I didn't realize too is the community that emerged. There's some folks here I see who are just incredible. And the last thing I'll say, reflecting back on what I think I changed, is that I fell in love with the offer again. Like I wasn't vibing with the 6 months, it just didn't fit my sensibilities. But with the sprint, like I can show up in a way that people can tell I'm just like head over heels in love with this offer. And people, that's contagious, that energy is contagious. People want to be a part of that. It's magnetizing to people. So I don't have to try as hard because I can just show up how I am and people lean in and they're like, tell me more about that, So, yeah.
Wow, I love that. I love all the different approaches that you guys have taken to improving your offers, whether it's evolving them over time, understanding that it's better to put something out there and then, use the data to inform how you're going to change it. I think so much of creating a compelling offer has to do with putting something out there and actually gathering the information to make a more informed decision, rather than even what you two shared, like making an assumption about what people might want. Also, something that really stood out to me, Kirsten, about what you said is it seems that the difference between oh, here's a result you get, you're gonna write high ticket emails that make you sales, versus you get to be social media optional. It's almost like you're giving people a stance, something like a belief to stand behind, something to support. It's more than just a specific result. It's a belief system, right? Like social media doesn't have to be part of your business. And I think that is another draw of the offer.
Yeah, and my clients go hard for that. They go very hard for that. They
team
love
knows
it.
Social media.
So it's true. It rallies your community as well.
Amazing. How are we doing on time, by the way? I'm not sure about this. We're doing good. Okay, perfect. What is the most underrated thing every person in this room could implement to make their offers more compelling? One, like, quick tip.
One of the things that I'm obviously going to say is create a visual campaign for everything you create and launch. You have to see it as well as develop it in your head, because one of the things that everybody else needs to do is see it and understand it right away. And so, yeah, I think that's one of the biggest things, because when people see an unprofessional photo, they automatically will think your business is unprofessional. That first impression, although it's harsh, is always there. It's always there. So they know you care, and they know you're thinking about the details when you actually look at a very cohesive and consistent branding.
I would ask, beyond the consistency of, using the same colors or the same fonts or the same quality of image across different content pieces, can you just expand a little bit more, help people visualize what you mean by a visual campaign?
It's what you're showing. It is what you're showing. It's not just pretty pictures. We're not, that's why we don't consider ourselves typical photographers. We're not even in that industry. We're in the industry of business visuals and branding. And so you don't just need another pretty picture on social media. You really don't. It doesn't make sense, right? So look at your client experience and how are you going to show that in pictures. Storytelling in images and storytelling in video is really important. You can capture the energy. You get the in-between shots of emotion, and that's why think about what we use. We use emojis all the time. What are you going to say, smiley, happy face, or just do the emoji? It is people think in visuals now. And so I encourage you to think in visuals with any offer that you create and any launch that you're trying to do. That's what the bigger companies are doing. That's how they're wired. They see it before they even create the systems inside of it. And so that's one of the things we can all do, regardless if you're, hiring us or not. You can do that. You can sketch it out first. People need to see themselves inside of your method or your service, or understand how they're going to use your product if you're product based. And so those are kind of the things that you should be thinking about. And when it's branded, it's like your own world. I love that saying, your brand is like the world that you create and bring people into. And so that is all visual. And so, get out of your head just a little bit of always with the messaging and things like that, because that's so important. I'm not downplaying that at all. That's needed as well. But look and see the visual first and bring people inside that world and make it your own. That's another thing. It's you draw inspiration from other brands, but really make it your own, with all the values and systems in there. That's what is going to make the difference between you and the next person that has almost the same role as you. People need to see your quirkiness. They need to see your differences. So yeah.
And I love that tip of showcasing what the actual process of working with you looks like, helping them imagine it. Storyboarding. Yeah.
Yes, storyboarding.
Amazing.
Yes. I would say you inspired me on something in terms of showing what the process is like. I would say have a longer runway or a longer lead-up time or a pre-launch period than you think is even reasonable, longer than you think makes sense. Because, I'm kind of a turtle. I take a long time to make a decision. I need to warm up to things. And so when people have a longer runway and people are oh, in January I'm doing this thing, I'm oh, January. It makes me feel safe and secure around that. And don't be afraid to share before you think you're ready. The founder of LinkedIn has this quote that I always say, if the first iteration of your product doesn't eventually embarrass you, then you have launched too late. I live by that. And so don't be afraid, even if you don't know what your price point's going to be or how many modules your thing's going to be or what exactly your thing is going to look like. Build in public, right? Talk about what you're thinking about. Talk about what your vision is for this product. And do it before you're ready, because people are going to start listening and cultivating themselves into being ready when you do launch.
Oh my gosh, can I piggyback on that for a second? One of my mentors gave me the best advice ever. She said, launch it broken, fix it live. I love that, because it's not about you're going to be embarrassed about your first, just like I said in the beginning, our 5-step process and 5-month process, it was just ridiculous, right? But if you fix it live, like people will give you input, and market research is everything. So as long as you're talking in the same language as your audience and fixing the things that they need to be fixed, it is so brilliant. I absolutely loved it. Yes. So I just had to.
No, I'm glad you added that.
I love it.
It kind of reminds me of this concept of anything new is always going to feel difficult, but it's not because you're not capable. It's just because it's new, right? Yeah.
I'm going to be a little cliche, but I'm going to say accessibility is always lacking from most people's offers. That's just like, it's like every corporate company has diversity, equity, inclusion. Accessibility needs to be part of that. If you're an independent business owner, accessibility needs to be part of your offer. Just simple and straight up the truth, because it's just one of those things.
I think the most underrated thing, and I just pray you take this and go make $1 million with this advice, because this is everything that I try to teach my clients inside $1 Million Email. You have to be basic to be unique. You have to be basic to be compelling. The most compelling offers are actually very basic. So a lot of people don't know this. If you're not my client, I did not want to do email. I did not want to create an email program because I was like, that's basic. What do I look like? That's basic. I'm so much more than that. I'm eliminating burnout from the industry. Like, I was just like, who do you think I am? This person, that person? No, couldn't be me, right? Like, I did not want to do email. And it's so funny because looking back on it, I'm like, when I allowed myself to promise high ticket email sales, right, to start, I then was able to add so much uniqueness to it. And so a lot of times I tell my clients, I'm like, your clients are basic. My clients will tell me, I don't want to talk about 10K months. That's everybody. Everybody talks about 10K months. Yes, but not everybody talks about it well, and they don't deliver it well, right? And so the biggest thing is I'm like, your clients want 10K months. Like, why would you not talk about that? And so stop talking about what you want to talk about because you don't want to be basic. Your clients are basic. The most compelling offers are the ones that solve compelling problems. And unfortunately, I laugh all the time. My clients know I'm like, I don't want to talk about growing your email list. I don't want to talk about that. But guess what? That's your most compelling problem, right? When you join $1 Million Email. And so I talk about it, but I add my unique spin to it. And because of that, that is what makes it compelling. That's what makes it unique. But when clients try to be overly creative, it actually just like shoots them in the foot. They don't end up doing nearly as much as they could if they were willing to be basic. And so I think that's my number one piece of advice in your messaging, in your business, anywhere. Being basic will get you to unique. You don't go unique first, right? You go unique first, the offer's either not gonna get launched or it's not gonna do as well as it could be, right? So like basic to unique is gonna be key.
I want to use that to my niece because like she tells me that I'm basic all the time. I take that as a compliment.
Me too, I'm basic.
Permission to be basic, love it. Okay, all right. To wrap up, let's just quickly go down the line and share where people can connect or something exciting you want.
The quickest and most convenient way is probably Instagram, Workplay Branding, or you can actually get on a call. Lyric and I take a lot of the calls. You can book an inquiry call and you can ask us any questions you have about Workplay Branding's method at our website, workplaybranding.com, and then just click the book a call and the schedule will come up.
Thank you, Traci.
You're welcome.
Yeah, and the best place to find me would definitely be LinkedIn, or if any of you are in Southern California, we can hang out in person. The last place would be the CAMPFIRE CIRCLE podcast.
Thank you, Tanya.
You can most likely find me on Instagram, Mabley_Q. The sticker's on the table for you. And honestly, just reach out to me. I'm always an open book. If you want to know more about my story, if you want to understand more about what accessibility is, please ask me any question. There are no dumb questions.
Thank you, Erin.
You can join my email list at my website. It's www.kirstenroldan.com. We are enrolling into $1 Million Email in October, so you can join my email list by joining the wait list for that if you'd like. Otherwise, if you're an IG person, you can follow me on Instagram. I'm only there for y'all. I'm only there to get more people to email. So at the same name, Kirsten Roldan.
That's awesome. I have a friend who on her Twitter, it literally says, not here, but you can hang out.
Only here for y'all.
Yeah. Okay, so Bree actually said we have time for like a couple questions. So does anyone, oh, yes, go for it. Is there a mic? I don't need a mic. Oh, perfect.
They don't want to come on stage. Come on stage, guys.
My name is Michelle. My question is for Kirsten. Am I saying your name right? Okay. So how do you feel with AI? So a lot of business coaches are heavily promoting AI, and I'm not going to lie, for my clients, we use it as a starting point for a lot of things. We don't obviously use all of it, and our community is very niched as well. So I just want to know your thoughts about, you mentioned about the templates, and so how do you, if you service clients, how do you help them in that way of, you want to be innovative and you want to help use it to, cut down on time, but how do you do that in a way where it's not, I guess, the way that you said that we are using templates?
Yeah. Such a good question. I have clients inside $1 Million Email that use ChatGPT to like get them started on an email and things like that. And it's not that I'm against it, but here's what I found. The simple practice of writing an email is actually what creates so much confidence in your offer. Like your mindset just from writing the email completely transforms. So it's one of those things where I'm like, I'm not against, I'm all about efficiency. I'm also a systems person. However, I found that when people actually sit down and have to write 100 emails about their offer, nobody can tell them nothing about their offer. Like there's like the pushback that you worry about, all of that, you can't tell them nothing. And so I think that confidence you just don't get from obviously, using a tool like that. However, if you write the email, like my recommendation, if you're going to use both, would be write the email for the act of writing emails and then use ChatGPT so I actually use it for formatting. My the subject line preview text, sending it to my team. Like I use it for that. My team uses it for that. So use it, but it's one of those things where the practice of writing emails does so much for your $1 million energy. I think you can't replace that. I know you can't replace that. And so I always tell people, I'm like, if you're not confident in your offer, you just haven't written emails. Like that'll get you confident. So that's my take on AI and writing emails.
Awesome. Did I see another hand earlier? Over here? No?
Question? No questions from
Y'all good? Okay. Awesome. Well, thank you so much, all of you. And give another big round of applause for all these amazing women.
Okay, so you've heard from us. Now I want to hear from you. Leaving a review helps us so much in growing our reach and supporting more folks with this podcast. And even better, I would love for you to send me a note on LinkedIn with your takeaways from this episode. I cherish and respond to every message, so I can't wait to hear from you. And if you want to go even deeper, check out the show notes to take your next step.